Welcome to another edition of Completely Unoriginal, your source for everything nerd-related here at Dakota Broadcasting. I'm Kirk Campbell. With me, as always, Adam St. Paul and Tony Tubes Zur on the phone with us as well. Hey, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, you can tell that Adam's really got a lot of energy today.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm crashing hard for some reason.
So, not a lot to talk about this week. Kind of a slow week for nerd stuff. Although all the fall shows are coming back, and now my DVR's filling up, I haven't had time to watch much of anything. Let's start with the simple one. Let's talk about Gotham a little bit, Adam. Love the show.
First, does Tony watch
Yeah,
Gotham?
I'm sorry, Tony. Do you watch Gotham?
You know what? It just dropped on Netflix the other day, and this is the first I've had a chance of watching it. So I've watched the first episode, and that was it.
Did you like the pilot?
It was interesting. My dad's a really big Gotham fan, and he kind of fills me in on some non-spoiler stuff every once in a while.
Good, okay.
And he said it is kind of slow going at the first 3 or 4 episodes.
It's slow to build because they've got a world they've got to introduce and a lot of characters.
Absolutely.
But boy, it is shifting. I'm not going to say any spoilers for you, but it is shifting to a much darker tone, in my opinion, this season. And I think it does the show justice to do that. I think it works better that way to give it a darker edge.
And just with the pilot, the girl they got playing Selena Kyle, she really pulls it off.
Yeah, she's
the look of her.
She's 15 years old, that young lady, or she was when she started, or 14. She's 16 now. And she's grown up a lot over the summer, that's for sure. You can see her maturing, much like the young Master Bruce Wayne. He's growing up and getting to be so tall. I feel like I'm talking about my kids. Oh, they're growing up so fast. But that's the case of kids and TV, I guess, especially when they're teenagers. But it's... Adam, what do you think? Do you think the darker tone, you think I'm on the right track here by mentioning I think the show is better this way, or what do you think?
I don't really see it as much more of a darker tone, to be quite honest. I think it's just continuing on with what it was doing towards the end of the first season, and I won't really go into why that is, because I don't want to ruin anything for Tony. But all I know is that when I heard that Fox announced that they were going to be doing a Batman television series with no Batman, that was the first thing I said was, oh great, the one thing I wanted less of in my Batman. So
believe me,
I've been pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I was very skeptical at first too. I'm like, I don't know, but it hooked me.
Yes, and I think it's worth checking out. They are really going more canon, I think, bringing in a couple of more characters from the comic books here in season number 2. And it'll be interesting to see where they go. I like what they've done with some casting choices, and we won't get into too specifics, like I said, because I don't want to ruin anything for Tony. But marathon through those. I know you got some kids to take care of, Tony, but marathon through those.
Well, yeah, I absolutely need to get to them. And, I watch, I have stuff on my feeds all the time that show the trailers and my dad has spoiled a couple things for me and everything. And so I kind of get the gist of where the story's going but yeah, Selena Kyle, that looks really good. And honestly, I'm a huge the Arkham games. I like the Arkham games a lot.
Yes.
And she really personifies that character that they brought for Catwoman on there. And so that was really cool for me. And it's going to be interesting. And yeah, I can't wait to watch it. So.
I don't like Barbara Gordon, though. She's terrible on that show, and you'll see why.
Adam's totally hardcore against her. I don't have anywhere near the problem that he does with her. I think she's fine. She's not terribly important to the show, in my opinion, but I think she's getting more interesting now. So, and that's all I'll say about that. You'll have to weigh in after you've watched some episodes and see if you're somewhere in between or which side of the scales you lean toward, I guess.
Absolutely.
I did get a couple of comic books this weekend, I guess.
Yeah.
I got the first book of the Saga of Swamp Thing, which is the revamp that was issued by DC when Wes Craven's film, which we talked about a couple weeks ago on this show, Swamp Thing, came out, and Alan Moore wrote it, and it is one of Alan Moore's seminal works when it comes to comic books.
He's amazing.
After that, I also got the next installment, the next volume of what's his name? Not Hack Snyder, but
it's Zack Snyder.
Yes,
it's just a different Zack Snyder.
No, Scott Snyder.
Oh, Scott Snyder. Who am I thinking?
Because Zack Snyder is Hack Snyder.
Right. Okay.
See, I always get confused. But Scott Snyder's run on Batman with Caputo as his artist as well, and that one is Year Zero or Zero Year, and that is his take on basically the Batman origin story, I guess. I haven't started reading that one, but I'm excited. And last but not least, also it was Batman Day, so it was free comic book day, and I got a free one with my purchase. And I looked inside, and I was flipping through the pages, and sure enough, believe it or not, Frank Miller is at it again, and he is going to be making a sequel to his Dark Knight Rises. Now, Dark Knight Strikes Again. There's The Dark Knight Returns, which is outstanding. The Dark Knight Strikes Again, which is just horrible. And now he's at it again. He's going to make a third installment to that series. And I'm interested because Frank Miller's been just terrible his last couple of works, that's for sure, with likes of Holy Terror and All-Star Batman and Robin, and the list goes on.
Well, he's getting old. I mean, he's getting up there. I think
he doesn't look great anymore either.
He has been having some health problems and everything, too, so maybe it's just been affecting his writing.
I think he was having problems because this was the Dark Knight Strikes Again came out in 2002. So that, I mean, I don't know how long those problems have been affecting him. I know that he's a consultant on Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, so that's going to be, that kind of scares me because for some reason later in life, his version of Batman was a authoritative jerk, basically, rather than, like a Dark Knight vigilante, but I digress.
We'll have to wait and see. That's any idea? They announced when they're going to be issuing or when they're going to be printing these?
Yeah, I think it's still a year out.
Okay,
but
so he's still working on it.
And I'll tell you what, too. People have accused him of being racist, which I'm sure you're aware of, Kurt.
Yeah.
And the book is called Batman Master Race.
Oh dear.
So that to me raises up a couple of red flags.
Oh dear.
Oh man.
Maybe he's slipping further. I don't know.
But then again,
I don't think DC wouldn't print something that was overtly racist.
Yes,
like that.
DC would definitely put
the villain might be seeking a master race.
Could be. In the last one, in the Strikes Again, it was Lex Luthor and Brainiac, and there was it's unless I'm going to break down everything that's wrong with that book, you guys should really, really read it because it is.
Well, if it's that bad, I'm just going to take your word for it.
Yeah, it is. It's terrible. What is nice is Frank Miller will not be drawing this one, and his art has just become atrocious. With Holy Terror, it was terrible. With The Strikes Again, it was terrible. So he's not going to be drawing this, and I forget who's going along with him. But there's someone that is writing, actually helping the writing too. And I got to look up his name, but he's super hit or miss too with some of the stuff that he's wrote. So
interesting.
It'll be definitely it's kind of a interesting pairing. We'll put it that way.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll just have to wait and see on that one. It's something to hope for the best and fear the worst, I guess. Speaking of hoping for the best, I was hoping for the best that The Martian, which was the other thing we wanted to talk about today, was going to get a good reception. And so far, it's an amazing reception that it's been receiving, critically at least. Last I saw, it was 94% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty uncommon these days. It looks amazing. It may be a return to form for Ridley Scott, the Ridley Scotch. So I don't know, how excited are you on a scale from 1 to 10 to see this, Tony?
Oh, I really like these, like Moon, and I like Sunshine, and
yes.
I liked Gravity.
Yep.
And I like these kind of semi-real space stories that don't have to involve aliens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I like space movies, and this one I like the Matt Damon. And and it's an interesting concept for a movie. I was explaining it to my wife earlier, and explain it to her in a sentence, and it's like, they leave him back there, and he's got to figure out, how to stay alive until somebody can get back, and the mental stuff that's going to be going on in the movie, I think is underplayed in the trailers. I think there's going to be a lot more. It looks like such a hopeful movie in the trailers, like it's going to be just something you're just going to cheer through and stuff. But I think there's going to be a lot of a lot of him breaking down, because he's going to be there for a while by himself, and they have to dig deep into that, and Matt Damon's really good with that stuff.
And I've also heard there's a surprising amount of humor, some of it, of course, a little bit of a darker tone due to some of what he's having to suffer through.
I've heard that as well.
But it's one of the reviews I saw said it's I sawed. That's a new word I just came up with. One of the reviews I saw said it's Ridley Scott's most big-hearted movie ever. They feel like it's got the most warmth. And Ridley Scott, let's be fair, he's made some amazing films, not known for the warm fuzzies in his movies in any way, shape, or form. There's not the feel-good element to his films.
Right.
It's just not in there.
Real quick, Brian Azzarello is the guy that's writing Master Race along with... he did Before Watchmen, and that's been kind of diversive, or I guess kind of split some people apart. I enjoy the Before Watchmen series, so I would give him a pass on that. He also is doing Wonder Woman right now. I haven't read any Wonder Woman, and he also did the series for Vertigo, which was actually very popular, called 100 Bullets.
Okay.
So, but I do know that I do know there's legitimate criticism against that. But either way, it's just
maybe the two of them together are the right stew of writership.
Perhaps. But back to The Martian, which I do want to see. Tony, you mentioned Sunshine. You've seen the full movie Sunshine?
Oh, absolutely.
Have you seen Sunshine?
I loved
Kurt?
it. Yeah, I absolutely loved it.
What did you guys think of the ending? Spoiler alerts, everyone out there. We're going to go into full spoiler alert territory.
Yep. So if you have not seen Sunshine, you might want to skip ahead a bit.
Yes.
Personally, I thought it was great. I thought it was exciting.
The pinbacker thing was cool at the end, but you didn't get to see him. It was all fuzzy, and they purposely did that and everything, and it was good. I mean, I personally like the ending just because they save us, and just like the trailers really portray it really well. If you look up and it's a particularly bright day, you know that we made it, and then at the end you see, even though all this hostile and crazy crap went on, and honestly, one of Chris Evans' best movies, if you ask me.
So
yeah, he's good. Cillian Murphy's also really good. He's an underrated actor. I loved him in 28 Days Later. Loved him in that.
Well, and he was the first. He really went for Christian Bale's role as the Dark Knight. He was really, Christopher Nolan really wanted him, but Christian Bale just won out on it. So he could have been our Dark Knight, Cillian Murphy, but
he's very good.
So you're not just completely thrown off by the fact that Pinbacker comes back as a complete and weird religious fundamentalist out of nowhere, and it basically becomes like a slasher movie in the last half hour.
I don't think that's what. Okay, go ahead, Tony.
To me, you have this claustrophobic, this kind of air of mystery film going on the entire time, and it's really good building the tension, and then it all just gets let out of the balloon when it's like, basically he's become a slasher villain now, and he looks all ugly because he's covered in burns from the sun and what have you.
This is what the tension has been building to as to what's causing the problems, though. This is the climax of the film. You can't be angry or upset at a film for building up toward a climax and then giving you a climax to the film. Basically.
I can criticize what the climax would be. I don't have a better answer for it right now, but I just still didn't like it.
I disagree with you. I thought
Adam,
it was good.
Can I ask, Adam, how many times have you seen Sunshine?
Once or twice. I watched it in college and rewatched it when I forget what Kurt and I were discussing one time, but brought up that I think it was on like Amazon Prime for a day, and I watched it. But there you go.
Okay, so yeah, you've had more than one opportunity to see it, because it took, the first time I watched it, the ending to me was really kind of that was okay with the whole Pinbacker thing, but I watched it again and I saw where Danny Boyle was going with that. That was a Danny Boyle movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw where Danny Boyle was going with it. So the movie itself was so good that one last little thing, even though I would have liked to have seen Pinbacker maybe had a little bit more, give him a little bit more of redemption, being able to tell more of his story to them, and not just, like you said, kind of just be a slasher. I see where you're coming from with that. I would have liked to have seen that if he was to come back, cause a little bit more mayhem psychologically and get in there and talk to him and stuff and try to basically do the quintessential bad guy thing and try to make them understand his evil. That would have been cool instead of just coming in there and trying to kill everybody.
Danny Boyle, he'll also be he's making a sequel to Trainspotting too.
Is he? Oh, I think I heard that. I think I did
thought
hear
you
that.
might even told me, but I don't know anything really about it. I just know that it's happening. So
I'm sure it's just a 20 years later. Where are these characters?
And everyone's back, from what I understand.
Everybody, really?
Everyone's
that's
back.
exciting.
So
I'm excited about that. Robert Carlyle, I was a real big fan of his after seeing him in that.
You see Ewan McGregor's wiener in that movie.
I don't.
I'm just going to share that with everyone.
Yeah, you do. You also see Kevin Bacon's in Wild Things. There are a lot of movies that show.
You also see his wiener in Hollow Man. That terrible movie.
Where is this going? Where is this going?
It went straight to Wienertown.
This is what happens when there's not a lot of nerd news to talk about.
Completely Unoriginal, the new podcast. But no, Danny Boyle is.
The Martian. That looks like a really good movie.
Yeah, I hear you see Matt Damon's wiener. No, no, probably not. I guess not.
That's funny.
But no, I think it looks great. I'm hoping for the best. I fully intend to see it when I can. Harder to do than I'd like it to be, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I'm actually pumped for The Martian. I think it's going to be very good.
I'm hoping
Ridley
Scott.
And I think if you do a movie like that, I think it goes without saying that you have to try to be as scientifically accurate as you can be, and I think that's what they're going for with this one.
Yeah,
so.
I think they tried.
Mm-hmm.
Although I still hear that parts of it are still a little sketchy. But again, you're making a movie. You're trying to make a movie, and it's not meant to be it's not an autobiography or a documentary. It's just a movie. So I don't know. We'll see what Neil deGrasse Tyson says.
As far as the trailer's concerned, I meant to watch it before we recorded today, but does the ship that leaves, do they come back for him? Do they try to come back for him?
I think the story goes that they return to Earth only to then turn around and try to go back, because a big part of the story is how exactly are we going to get back to Mars quick enough?
You cannot just turn a ship around and go back.
You wouldn't have the resources, you wouldn't have the energy, you wouldn't have all that stuff. And they have to figure out a way to get a manned mission back to Mars, as quick as possible. You need food, you need resources, you need energy, and the list goes on and on.
And you've also got to make sure you've got your mathematics correct for trajectories and space travel. There's a whole lot of maths in there. So you got to make that exciting.
Well, and it's cool because with all the stuff that they just found, didn't they just find water on Mars?
Yeah, liquid water.
Liquid water.
Yeah, so you have that, and then they were also there was a bunch of news stories going on about trying to send a manned mission to Mars, but it would be a one-way trip.
That's all farce. That's all.
Oh, is that?
Yeah. Cracked did a really, really good article on that. One guy who was one of the finalists only to kind of investigate it. He kind of reveals it. Yeah, it's all malarkey, I think.
Interesting.
You should. You know what? This. Just on another side note, and I guess I'm all over them today. Maybe it's because like I said, I'm crashing hard from sugar. I think I can't focus. Have you guys ever seen Fire in the Sky?
No.
Oh, well, you should go on my very, very popular YouTube channel, and you should check out one of my first YouTube tube reviews was of Fire in the Sky.
I'm gonna do that now. I'm going to go watch that review.
That is one of my absolute favorite science fiction movies, but still based in the reality that is the best documented alien abduction story ever recorded. And honestly, when I was on Movie Fights, I really wish that I would have used that as my extended universe, because I would like to have kind of tied that into different encounters, from the same aliens, and stuff like that. And it would I love that movie, and there's nothing better in the ways of alien abduction. It was amazing.
Well, they depict it as terrifying naturally, and it's very effective when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I'm a super skeptical person when it comes to alien abductions.
Yeah, me too.
So I don't believe that Gentleman's Story, as far as I could throw it, but the movie itself I enjoy it. It's just
as a
terrifying.
work of fiction, sure, yeah.
Have you seen? You should see that. I'm surprised, Kurt, you haven't seen that movie.
No, I never saw it. I heard of it, but never saw it. Alien abduction has never been my jam so much. I did love the X-Files, don't get me wrong, and have a serious happy dance going on for the new 6 episodes coming in January. But as far as like the alien abduction or alien autopsy, any of that stuff, it never struck me right.
This is the best alien abduction thing you'll ever see, even if you're not an alien abduction fan, just for the psychological purposes of it. But
Okay.
I have to warn you, Kurt, and I'm sure that Adam will be shaking his head yes when I say this, but D.B. Sweeney and Robert Patrick, they get a little cheesy. It's a serious early '90s movie.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
It's if you watch it again, it'd definitely be a film of its time, kind of like Independence Day was and whatnot. But that's gonna probably do it for us here. We are up against time, so it's been a lot of fun, Tony. We managed to get over 20 minutes on a podcast where we had nothing really to talk about. So.
It just goes to show you get 3 guys with nerd cred together in a room to talk.
Next week on Wiener,
It'll happen.
on
Completely
Unoriginal, we'll go over other movies where men go full frontal. No, I'm just kidding. So, Tony, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
That's going to do for today's edition of Completely Unoriginal. For Kurt Campbell and Tony Zer, I'm Adam St. Paul. Until the next time.